Yeah, that's right. We're back, and this ain't my first mortgage podcast. Welcome to the show, where we discuss all things mortgage sales, industry news, interviews of the top mortgage professionals, and more. Strap on in, enjoy the ride, and welcome to Ain't My First Mortgage Podcast. Peter Benjamin, welcome to Ain't My First Mortgage Podcast, buddy. How you doing?
Hey, man, I'm just living that dream. It's been already a crazy 2026, but hey, man, I'm loving life.
I love it. I love to hear it, man. Thank you for coming on. This is going to be the first episode, so I am honored to have you on here. And for those of you out there that don't know Peter, don't know who he is, what he's all about, I'm going to give him a chance to introduce himself. Peter, go ahead and tell everybody who you are, what you do, and also a little bit about where you work.
Sure thing. Well, first and foremost, father of three. I'm nothing without my kids. And by the way, side note, thank you very much for the ACUMA mug call out. Appreciate that.
That was not on accident.
But yeah, father of three, home brewer, lover of the national parks. What else? I recently came out of retirement to play in a men's lacrosse beer league. Love golf. But I guess that's enough about the personal stuff. Professionally, I am the president of the American Credit Union Mortgage Association. Some of you may know it as ACUMA. We are the only trade association that focuses on educating credit union mortgage professionals. This year actually marks up our 30th year of existence. And we couldn't be more proud of where we've come in that 30 years. And throughout the course of the year, we put on 5 events, 3 smaller events we call summits. They're like executive roundtables. Another one's called a workshop, which is more like just 2 days of mind-melting content. And then, of course, we put on our big annual conference every September. This year, it's in Vegas at the Fontainebleau. I personally think it's the greatest show in our industry. I get enthusiastic just talking about it.
Yeah.
Love our annual conference, and there's always surprises up our sleeve whenever we start planning it.
I love that. And I will say, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a participant in many of the events you just said, but y'all do a tremendous job with all of your events that you put on. Annual conference is a fantastic event. It's got great information, great networking, even entertainment factor. It's all in there. People ask me, a lot of times, hey, is this worth the investment? And I always tell them it is. It's a great event. I've had the honor of being able to sponsor a couple of different things, parts of the annual conference, workshops, all that kind of stuff. It's always money well spent. So y'all do a great job with that.
Appreciate that. Listen, I have no idea how we do what we do. Really leading up to this point, we've only been a team of 4.
Mm-hmm.
We just brought on our 5th person.
Say, you got a big addition.
I know, huge, monstrous.
That's right.
I know, right? But yeah, I'm still blown away that of the things that we do with such a small team.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. Now, tell me a little bit about what ACUMA is going to be focusing on this year. I mean, obviously the events, but as far as the narrative goes, what kind of topics you're going to be focusing on? Are we going to be repeating some of the same stuff, kind of the tried and true? Are we going to be adding some new things? Talk to me a little bit about that.
No, I mean, so historically speaking, we've never really focused on any form of advocacy. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to go hard and be on the Hill lobbying nonstop, but ever since I started, we slowly started building that policy arm where we start educating our members on the various policies that impact them. I don't think that's going to change, but I think you'll start seeing more of that because, if you think about it, there are some really big potential bills that are out there that could impact credit unions in a positive way. If you look at the Senate, it's the Rosa Housing. If you look at the House, it's, housing in the 21st century, all of which, really could change the game of how we do things. But, the general theme for this year is access. We want to make it easier for our members to gain access to our events so they can be better educated to serve their members.
Okay, so talk to me about that. How so?
Okay, so historically speaking, we've always done, 1 summit, 2 workshops, and the annual conference. Summits are free for credit unions to attend. Workshops are, having a registration fee, same with our annual conference. This year, flipping the script, 3 free events, 1 workshop, which has that registration, and annual conference. The goal is, let's bounce around the country. Let's put on these summits. Let's bring credit union leaders from these different regions, Baltimore, St. Louis, Dallas area, together, have open roundtable discussions. That doesn't cost them anything. All they have to do is pay to get there. And they'll walk away with these nuggets that, Skip, you've been in our world for a long time. If you pay attention enough, you can walk away with a new product, a new policy. Credit unions share, right?
They do. They do share more than any other group of organizations.
Right. So that's why, these 3 events, the 3 summits, which focus solely on roundtable discussions, are going to be so important for us in the future. Listen, they're free, and you're going to walk away with something that's really going to make a positive impact within your credit union and your community. So that's really what we're getting at with access.
Yeah, I love that. And of course, not that you're going to do this, but even if the material and the topics that y'all provide at these events, even if they sucked and are worthless, the networking opportunity that you have done putting these people together pays for itself way past the cost of travel and such. It's a great time to bounce ideas off of each other. But luckily, of course, that's not the case. Content's always great.
And let me add this. It's one thing I love about the summits is that, yes, they're free, but they also have an experience component built into it.
Mm-hmm.
Like in our Dallas summit, we're going to be in Dallas, but then we're going to take a bus over to Fort Worth and head over to Billy Bob's for a nice little part-time at the honky tonk, watch a little, listen to some country music, watch a rodeo. It's going to be a great time. And then when we're in St. Louis, the event's actually being held at Anheuser-Busch. So we're going to have a private tour, private tasting, a meet and greet with a Clydesdale.
Love it.
And then in Baltimore, the event's going to be at CQ, Maryland, but the experience is going to be at Guinness Open Gate, so the Guinness Brewery in Baltimore. So again, private tasting, private tour, dinner. It's going to be awesome.
Very cool. Very cool. So that's the thing. It's always a good time, very good experience all around. So, all right. Enough about ACUMA specifically. I want to dive into the mortgage industry in 2026. Man, we are a few days into the year. We've already had headlines and talking points and all kinds of stuff that is just out there floating around. What are we going to do with, we've had talk of starting kind of a half-assed QE effort. It's having an effect on bonds. We're talking about limiting investors buying homes. There's all kinds of stuff going on in the news, man. Talk to me a little bit about what you see happening in 2026.
I can really only speak from the credit union perspective.
Sure.
But it feels good out there.
Yeah.
It really does. My email inbox is a sign of things that come this year. This is going to be a lights out year for credit unions. I think the work that we have done on our side of the industry, that our little corner of the mortgage industry, I think it's finally going to start paying off this year. You're going to have, first-time home buyers, repeat home buyers finally coming out of the shadows to take that next step.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to, start too far into the year. I'm thinking March is when we're going to start seeing a nice little spike in volume.
Okay.
Rates aside, life goes on, and people are going to want to pursue their dreams. Whether it's renovating their house, buying a new house, it doesn't really matter. But I think the work that we've done over here, and I actually made a small little plug for that. I think it's going to pay off in dividends for our members because they are well positioned. They've updated their technology. They have good capital. They can sell in the secondary market. So they're going to go out there, support their communities, and really make that positive impact. And really, that's what I see. Credit unions are in that unique position to help affordability, help expand home ownership. This is that year of the credit union. Firm believer in that.
And I agree. I think credit unions are probably better placed than banks for sure to take advantage of a lot of this, all things being equal. I do have a question. I'm not playing devil's advocate here, but I guess I am a little bit. I'm gonna put you on the spot for this. All right. So we've got a lot of varying opinions, and not to get too much in the weeds with it, about the economy. Is the economy good? Is it headed for a recession? Is the labor market strong? Is it not? We got consumer debts, we got that floating out there. We've got student loans starting to creep into folks. A lot of credit unions, especially, have a high concentration of portfolio mortgages. And how do you see some of these potential, I don't want to say red flags, but these concerns? How do you see credit unions by and large, throughout your travels and your discussions with leadership and especially some of these larger credit unions? How do you see them trying to adapt to that and prepare for it?
I mean, you did hit the nail on the head. Like, credit unions have, if you look at the credit union industry as a whole, I mean, trillions of dollars held on their portfolios, right? Historically speaking, primarily portfolio lenders. But we've been slowly seeing credit unions become a little bit more sophisticated, leveraging Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, the Federal Home Loan Banks, the three GSEs for that liquidity. It's been slowly ticking up roughly about 5% every single year. And listen, 5% is not a lot, but it
doesn't sound like a lot, but it can be depending on the numbers you're talking about.
Right. But if you think about it, it's a slow ramp up, right? There are about 3,500 credit unions out there in that are in existence in the United States, 3,500, and about 1,500 of them originate mortgages on their own.
Which, as a side note, everyone should, if possible, do some sort of mortgage origination. But that's a different topic for a different day.
No. You and I could argue that before blue in the face.
That's right.
Like, how are you fulfilling your fiduciary responsibility to a community if you're not originating a mortgage? Anyways, of that 1,500, I've slowly been seeing more and more of these credit unions start selling on the secondary market. And I think the key part of that is they finally got to that point where they've got their boards comfortable with the crazy idea of selling off servicing.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I think that's a positive thing for our industry. Listen, that's not a lot. Listen, 5% is nothing year over year. 5% increase in that year over year is nothing. But if you think about it, if it started off at 0 and we're finally at 20%, that's a nice increase.
Yes,
right?
Yes, for sure.
So that's it. I mean,
yeah, and that was kind of the answer I was not expecting, but I was hoping you'd say is that it's diversifying the way that you go about doing business, right? It helps everybody, helps the institution, helps the member. That's important to do. I think,
and honestly, I think this is the root cause of this was the pandemic, when a lot of credit unions out there were portfolio 3% paper, right? Let's learn from our mistakes and not do that again. And, a lot of credit unions are being pretty aggressive at trying to get that 3% paper off their books.
Yep.
And I think it's finally paying off. And the only way to really continue to ensure that doesn't happen again is to sell on the secondary market.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I agree with that completely. It's all about risk management there. So, all right. So, Peter, first episode of this podcast. You don't know us, listeners don't yet know this, but I'm keeping them short and sweet, so it's easily digestible. We've had some really good information shared about ACUMA, some forecasting kind of about how the year is going to go, that kind of thing. Before we end today, I want you to have the opportunity. Is there anything else you want to share with the listeners you feel like they need to know about credit unions, ACUMA, mortgage industry, whatever you think is necessary? And then I've got a trivia question for you.
Okay, that's fair. I think the last thing I must point out is, if you're a member of ACUMA, thank you very much. We couldn't have seen the success over the years without your support and your involvement within our community. If you're not, and you're seriously considering, and you're a credit union, you're seriously considering joining, or you're interested in joining, send me an email. Allow me to invite you to one of our events, not just a summit, but like a workshop, annual, allow me to invite you to a workshop, our annual conference. That way you can see that our registration for our membership fee of $1,000, $995, is 100% worth it to you.
Yep.
I've yet to meet a new credit union that's come to a workshop or an annual conference that hasn't immediately said, wow, that was amazing. Everyone was friendly. Content was fantastic. Let me prove it to you. So email me or get in contact with me and let me show you the benefit of ACUMA.
I love it. So if someone wants to get in touch with you, how should they do it?
Peter@acuma.org.
It's easy enough. That's literally one of the easiest email addresses to remember ever. You can also go to the website, got a lot of good information on there. And like Peter said, his team of folks, it's small, but it's mighty. They got a good crew over there. And the addition of Nicole, I think, is going to mean big things for y'all. I think a lot of her. She does a great job.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So before we end, I do have a trivia question for you. This one's going to bring out my inner nerd a little bit. All right. So in what movie, while visiting Yosemite National Park and climbing a mountain, and asked, why do you climb a mountain? The answer was, because it's there.
So what movie?
What movie was this? Or who said it, if you can think of who said it. This was, if you get this, I'll be very impressed.
I mean, part of me is like leaning towards like Free Solo, but I know it's not that. Yosemite National Park.
He's climbing a mountain. His buddy doesn't get it. So he asks him, why do you do this? Because it's there.
I'm drawing a blank. I hate that I'm drawing a blank.
It is Captain Kirk. Captain Kirk from Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. Yeah.
The worst part is that I love all things Star Trek, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings.
Hey, listen, I'm not ashamed of it. I embrace it.
No, seriously. I mean, see behind me, like my Lego dinosaur?
Well, you can see behind me. They don't Lego Star Wars. So, yeah. That's good stuff, man. So there you go. There you go. I stumped you today. All right.
You did.
Very good. Listen, man, I really appreciate you coming on. This was a lot of fun. And guys, please feel free to reach out to Peter. He's awesome as a resource. If you're a credit union and you want to get more involved in mortgage and learn more about what's going on around the country, there's no better organization out there. So, guys, I appreciate it. And Peter, thank you so much for coming on. And yeah, we'll talk to you soon. All right.
Thank you.